Hello all, I'm Ram Kumar Singh once again, and in today's class we are going to install SQL Server on top of Windows cluster, and this time we are going to build cluster on using Windows Server 2012 R2. In our earlier classes we have done it using Windows Server 2008 R2, but this time we are going to use Windows 2012 R2 instead. So to create a cluster we need at least 3 virtual machines. One we require for the domain controller and 2 machines for one node each. To create virtual machines and the cluster, hence we require different softwares, and these are the softwares we need to build a cluster and install SQL Server on top of that. Here is the Virtualbox. This is the software provided by Oracle, and we are going to use this software since this is a free software, and using this software we will install the virtual machines. And here we have the Windows Server 2012 R2 with updates, and these are 2 updates. One after we install this SQL Server, this Windows Server 2012 R2, we will install these updates. The third software is SQL Server 2012. So first of all we need to install different virtual machines, and 3 machines to be precise. And once virtual machines are clustered, then virtual machines are created, then we will cluster all these 3 machines, and then on top of that cluster we will install the SQL Server. So let's go and start on this. So first of all we will install the Virtualbox here. So this is started, and these are the main steps we are going to follow with this practice. Like first of all we will install the Virtualbox, then we will install Windows Server 2012 R2 and updates after that. And since we require 3 different virtual machines, so we need to repeat this step second 3 times. Okay, so click on next, 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 and next. And in our video, whenever some process will take some time, so I will go and pause this video, and will proceed once it is done. This may take a few minutes.
Provide this loopback curses which are
okay. So Oracle Virtualbox is installed now, and we are going to start it right away. So once it is installed, you will see a icon on top of your desktop like this, and you just need to double click it, and it will get open like this. So here we need to install 3 different virtual machines, so we will use this option, new. Go to new and type some name for your first machine. So we need 3 different machines, so let's name those machines like DC for domain controller, node 1 and node 2. So I'm going to name these machines like this only, and I'm going to provide the location in E drive. So I have created different folders here, so I will provide the space from this disk to these virtual machines. So DC for domain controller, node 1 and node 2, these are going to be clustered later on. So first of all I will start the installation with DC, and that's a Microsoft Windows 7. We can select Windows 8.1 since there is no option for Windows 2012, but that is Windows 8 only, so we can use this, and it is a 64-bit option. In some cases you may not find 64-bit option here. in that case you need to change the setting in your BIOS, and you need to enable the virtualization, CPU virtualization. Then after reboot you will see the option here. So I have selected it, and depending on the memory in your laptop or machine, you can provide appropriate memory here. So I have got around 5 or 6 GB of RAM here, 6 GB out of which 5.8 GB is usable. So I'll provide 1 GB only, 1 GB for each node. Create a virtual hard disk now. Create. Here I need to provide the location from where the space need to be allocated to this virtual machine. So EDC, and for each node I'll suggest you to have 25 GB at least, or for DC we can reduce it a bit to 22 GB. Okay, so now go to setting, or what you can do, you can just right click on this machine and then go to setting, and here you need to make some changes, like you need to share enable this thing, the bi-directional, so that you can copy paste the things from your machine to virtual machines. And similarly you need to do this for drag and drop thing also. Stamp folder also need to be changed. You can provide the same location here as well, and then go to system, display not required here. So here you need to provide the installation files, the setup files or the ISO file. So this is the location where I have kept all the softwares, in D drive software. Then you can see both the setup files are here, SQL Server 2012 and Windows Server 2012 R2. So you just need to select the ISO file. Okay, and for network, for each node to be clustered we require 2 different networks. But for DC, since we are installing the DC first, so there is no requirement for 2 different adapters. A single adapter is fine, and you need to select bridge adapter here, go to advanced, and instead of deny it should be always allow all, and that's it. What we can do, we can share this folder also with the machines, so that later on it will be easier for us to get things copy and install. Let's make it auto mount, and that's it. So we have provided all the settings and we can start it now. So OS installation is started. And since we need 3 different machines, so what we can do, we can simultaneously install all 3 virtual machines. One first I have started already, and what I can do, I can copy the setup and initiate 2 different machines as well. And just remember to make a copy of the setup so that you don't install all 3 machines with the same setup. It will further delay this installation. So I'm going to make 2 copies of this installation file. Okay, so now it is asking for the primary key. Let me enter. So I have entered the primary key, and after clicking on the next, then this screen is here. We need to install a server with the GUI, and next. I accept. And I had provided a 22 GB of space, so let's convert it into a disk. You can format this. Okay, and click on next now. Okay, so it has started copying the Windows files, and now it has started the installation as well. So it is going to take time, and meanwhile I'm going to make one more copy of this, and then I can start the second virtual machines installation using this setup file. And this is already started. We will follow the same steps as we did for the DC machine. Okay. I can delete both these folders. It seems it was created in my last classes. So it is okay now. I'm going to use same settings as we used for DC machine, except the network, since we need 2 different network adapters. $25 GB will be fine for this, since SQL Server will be installed. So we require a bit more space for nodes than DC machine. And then go to setting now. Setting for node 1, and make it bidirectional. Similarly for drag and drop as well. And we need to change this location as system, display, storage not required. Okay, so here we need to provide the location of the setup file. And we have started the first installation with this setup, so this time we are going to use this setup. And for this we need 2 different network adapters, one for private IP and one for virtual IP. For virtual IP it should be host only adapter, and again make this allow all. For public IP, we will use the same settings as for DC, like bridge adapter, and then allow on and enabled. Okay, so seems good for now. Share folder, again we will change this. Okay, so we are done with the settings, and now we will start the installation for node 1. DC installation is done with 6% only. So we are done with the first step, and we are working on second step. This is taking too much time, so we can start working on the third node as node 2. Let's name it as node 2, and Windows 8.1 64-bit. Next, memory should be 1024. Location should be changed. GB, and okay, create. And then go to setting, advanced, bidirectional, and bidirectional again, and here we need to change the location. For this machine also we will require two different network adapters, one for public and one for private IPs. So this is for private IP, and for private IP we need to select host only adapter. Similarly, we need to make a allow all. That should be bridge adapter, advanced, and set it as allow all. Let's go to share folder and share that software location. And now we need to provide the so we just missed the storage. We missed providing the setup location, and now we have created one more copy of ISO file for Windows Server 2012 installation. So I'm going to choose this and OK. This is the node 1. Let's check the progress for DC machine. Okay, so that is 35% complete now. Okay, so it is asking for the primary key, and let me continue with node 2A. and we will make progress for node to tell primary key, and I will enter this primary key of the product key, then we will continue for the both installation. Let's click on install now. Okay, so this is also asking for the product key. I'm going to pause this video and then continue once the product key is accepted. So I have provided the product key here for both the machines, for node 1 and node 2, and if you do not have the product key, then you can use the evaluation version of this Windows server. I'm going to use this server install as with a GUI. Similarly, we will do it for node 1. So to make things faster, I'm installing these 3 virtual machines parallelly. You can do it in a sequence if you have time, although it will slow down some in this installation a bit, but I'm okay with that. Okay, so node 2 installation is done. Installation has started, and let's do the same with node 1. So this is done for node 1 also. So all these 3 virtual machines installation is started, and it is going to take a lot of time since I have parallelly started both 3 installations. So I'm going to pause this video now, and I'll continue once the installation is complete for all these 3 machines. Okay, so installation got completed, and the machine got restarted after the installation. And let me check the other 2 virtual machines. This is in node 1, and it is on the same state, and same is for node 2. So let's configure all 3 machines now. We need to set the password for administrator here. Can set any strong password. And we need to do the same for the 3rd node. Okay, so let's go and log into the server. it will take some time since this is the first time the desktop is loading. Let's check our steps now. So we installed the VirtualBox and then we installed 3 virtual machines. Now before updating and starting on the update, we can do it either way, before either installing the updates first and then make these changes, or we can make these changes first and then install the update. So I will make these changes, and we need to make add one more step here. So by default virtual machine assigns some default server name. We need to set the server name. And after these settings, we need to install the VirtualBox additional settings that can be achieved from here. So that is called guest additional settings. So I'm going to install this guest edition on all 3 virtual machines. Let's do it on other nodes as well. So what this get addition will do, it will help us in a seamless experience. Like we will not face any issues by clicking inside the virtual machine or copying the data, or you remember we had shared one location called software, but that will not be seen here unless we install the guest edition. Okay, so you see C drive is there, that is the OS drive, and next is the VirtualBox guest edition, but you cannot see the shared location which we mounted here, the software location. So that is because we have not yet installed VirtualBox. So let's go and install this. We need to install this VirtualBox guest editions for all 3 virtual machines. It is getting installed. Same we need to do for the other 2 virtual machines. This is for node 1. And let's do it for third virtual machine as well, the DC. So I have started installation of Virtualbox guest edition for all 3 machines, and let me pause this video for a few minutes, and once it is complete I will continue. So virtual machine guest edition is installed now, and let's not reboot it now. I will do it later, and then let's make other changes here. Now we will make same changes on all 3 machines. And what are the changes we need to make? We need to install, we will do it later. So this is done now, and this setting is also done. Installation update file, we will do it later, and let's do these 4-5 changes. So we need to disable the firewall, change the machine name, disable UAC setting, and then change server name. Okay, change server, this is already done, and then install the .NET framework. But changing server name require a reboot, so we will do it at last. So let's do it. First of all, we need to disable the firewall. Let's go to control panel, and then so I have disabled the firewall. Now let's make another change. I need to disable UAC, that is user account control. Let's make it minimum, and next change I need to make is to install .NET framework. Machine name I will change at last. I need to also set the power time zone. We are in India here, so I'm going to choose this UTC plus 5:30. Okay, so I have changed the time zone. So firewall is done, UAC setting is done, set time zone is set. Then we need to install .NET Framework 3.5. .NET Framework 3.5 is not very much required for DC node, but there is no harm, so let's do it. Windows Server 2012 .NET Framework 4.5 is inbuilt, so we just need to select .NET Framework 3.5 features and then next. This is going to take some time, so let's make same changes on another nodes. Virtual guest is already installed, so now we can remove this. And then make changes with the firewall. I have disabled the firewall. Then we need to make the time zone setting. Okay, then disable the UAC. So all these changes are done and we are left with the .NET Framework installation now, and let's see if that installation is complete or is proceeding. And sometimes we may face error while installing or adding this feature .NET Framework. So I'm not going to install .NET Framework on node 1 right away. Instead what I'll do, I'll rename the server. I'll check the installation with DC node first. So I started that, and I'm going to make other changes on this node now. That is to change the server name. So you see the server name is some default name provided by virtual machine or the Virtualbox. So let's make it some good name. Let's customize this. So this is node 1. Now this will ask for the reboot, and we need to proceed with the reboot. Oh, sorry. So what I did, I made a domain name. Instead, need to make change here. Okay, so let's go and restart the server. And this feature installation is still in progress, so I'm going to make changes on the third node now, that is node 2. And before that, let me remove this guest edition CD. Oops, need to remove disk. And then make changes in UAC. This is done. Let's go to Windows Firewall and then disable that. So UAC is done, Windows Firewall is done, and we have installed the Virtualbox. Now we need to install .NET Framework 3.5 and rename the server. So I'm going to rename the server first. Let's have it as node 2 and then reboot. Okay, so let's reboot it. This .NET Framework is still, installation is still running, so let's check our node 1. So I disabled the firewall, UAC setting changed, .NET Framework is not done yet, and time zone was changed. Oh, seems I forgot the changing the time zone for the node 2. We can do it later on. And machine name also changed for 2 nodes. For DC it is still left for this node. And once all these tasks are done, then we will further continue with installing the application server role and PowerShell. And before that, I would like to set the IPs before adding failover cluster feature. We should add failover cluster after IP addresses are done and even they are in domain. Okay, so node 1 is restarted, and let's check the .NET Framework installation. It is still going on and running and running and running. So what else is left here? We need to set up the IP addresses. Step seems okay now. Let me give it the correct sequence here. So now we need to set the IP addresses for all the networks, for all nodes and DC. And meanwhile, this SQL .NET Framework is also installed, and this is for DC. So now we can safely rename this server. Let's go and set the IP addresses, and this is the IP addresses list we need to set. So DC node is being restart, so we will do it for later. We can change the IP addresses for node 1 and node 2 for now. So 192.168.1.11 and then 1.12. This is the public IP. 168.1.11, and the default gateway is 192.168.1.1. Preferred DNS server is the IP of domain controller, so that is 192.168.1.10. so seems okay now. This is the private IP, so we need to change the IP, set the IP for this private network also. That is all we need to set, since that is a private IP. So we have set the private IPs for this, and we can safely either install the .NET framework or install the updates. So let's do the .NET framework. It is going to take time, so we need to change the IP addresses for node to now. Meanwhile, DC node is also up, so we can set the IP addresses for the domain controller. For node 2 it is 1.1.12 and private IP is 2.12. Now comes the private IP. That is all, and that's it. We can start the .NET framework installation on this node now. It will take some time, so let's change the IP addresses for DC node. In progress. There is public IP only, no private IP, so we need to set one IP only. default gateway for this is 192.168.1.1, but preferred DNS will be the loopback address, that is 127.0.0.1. Let me confirm. Okay. So domain controller is fine now. And now node 2, we need to add the .NET framework here. We have already started the .NET framework installation on node 1. The domain configuration and changing the domain for other nodes I will continue with in another video, in the next video. By then I can set it down. For now I have just installed the Windows and made it cluster ready. Okay, so we are having some issues here. I'll continue it later. Let me check on this one. Okay, so let me continue and cancel this. I can continue in this .NET framework installation in next video. Thanks for watching.